there, viewers, and welcome back to the South Main Auto Channel. So it's the next day. I got to get the Jeep off the lift. We need it for Monday. I did a little looking. We mentioned, I think in our last video, about those bar pins that go in the bottom of the shocks that I had difficulty putting one in. Ended up hurting one of the bushings. So I'm going to order the new bushings. I mentioned perhaps building, a little bracket for them to get rid of those bar pins altogether. Should have done a little research first. JKS, so the company that makes those front sway bar disconnects, also makes a bar pin eliminator for the bottom. I ordered them, got them on the Amazon. They should be here in a couple days. Hopefully today's Sunday, so maybe Tuesday, something like that. And then we'll just use those. They were like 40 bucks, somewhere's in there. So I get them, get the new bushing, put them in. That'll solve that problem. Today we got to chop off the lower control arm brackets, the factory ones. And once you do this, there ain't no going back. It's going to be long arm forever. So you're kind of dedicated, committed, I guess it would be at this point. But I don't have any intentions of putting it back to stock. So it's a little, I would say nerve-wracking, but I don't know. You chop it apart. I mean, that's it. That's where you're at. I don't even know how the thing drives yet. So hopefully good, because we're not putting the short arms back on it. So the plan. Always got to have a plan. There is some structure right here. You can see this spot welded here and here on this brace that comes down and out to the rocker panel here in the bottom. I don't want to call it the toe pan, I guess it is. I intend on cutting it, here, so it's going to look similar to this body line here, how this slip hangs down, and there's structure here, and it's welded on here and up through here. I'm going to keep this line. I'm just going to cut it. And then we're going to cut straight across here and then cut this straight across, so just below this brace, and then we'll grind it down, put a little paint on it, and then I'm going to keep the same depth, whatever this is, hanging off the actual unibody, I don't know, 1/2 inch or whatever, straight across the back. And then we're going to get this piece out of the way. Then the inside one here, I'm going to cut flush with the unibody. So it should still look pretty decent once they're off. Obviously you'll be able to tell something's cut off, but as opposed to like, cutting this all flush and welding it and grinding it and all that stuff, I think we'll just go with this lip. I mean, it's that way all the way up through that whole front unibody member. This whole lip hangs down, so I don't think it'll look too out of place. So I made myself a line across the back. This is where I'm going to cut. And then we'll probably just cut, down the edge here, get this outside piece out of the way. Then cut the inner one from the inside. No going back now, fellas. I guess that's it. So there it is, all said and done. Like I said, you can see that profile that comes down. That's just why I left that, piece there. Goes with the theme, we'll call it. And then the inner one we just cut pretty well flush. It does taper down to the little piece here in the back. which I suppose, I mean, if you really wanted to, you could probably, like, you know, taper this up to here and then, you know, cut this line if you wanted it, you know, completely flush, or just, you know, slot it on both sides, beat that down flat, and then just weld it. I think we're just going to leave it. I ended up doing the same thing on both sides, cut it exactly the same on the, you know, left side as I did on the right side. Give you an idea what that looks like. So if you end up doing it to yours, that's what I did. I'm sure there's, you know, various ways of doing it. That's what that looks like from a distance. I don't know. Let me know what you guys think down below. I mean, I imagine that you could probably, you know, drill out the spot welds and, you know, slit this and fold the inner piece in and weld that, then, you know, perhaps cut this and beat that over. I think it'd probably just, you know, make a lot of extra work. I guess it depends on how clean you want it to look when you're done. You know, curb appeal, I think this will be okay. I'll put a little bit of primer on on those, just on the edges there. And I suppose, you know, just be careful when you're cutting through. If you don't trust yourself, you probably ought to take the bolt out of the brake hose and stick that to the side. I just nicked the ABS connector a little bit with my whizzy wheel, just enough to put a little mark on it, but that was it. Oh, and I guess yesterday before I went home, I did put my brake hose brackets back on. So these spacers, ouch, pinch me. So I put them back in. Of course, the brake hoses at that point were still super tight. So all I did is just the metal bracket that goes on it, on the actual hose itself. I just bolted it down and then, you know, just grab the line and tweak it up a little bit. So essentially, instead of being curled over, it just opens up this curl a little bit. Now this brake hose I have to replace anyways, because the rubber portion of it's starting to split inside on the flex. But I just wanted to show you guys that once you do that, right now the vehicle is at, you know, the suspension is down as far as it'll go, and the hose is not, you know, stretched 100% tight. So I think that will be good. Of course, we'll have to compress it and see where they go. The only one I'm worried about is the one over here on the passenger side, because it's so close to the exhaust. You know, factory it is, but I want to make sure that it's not going to, you know, have a tendency to bend in. If so, we're going to have to do something. You know, we'll cross that bridge when it comes. Man, we're getting close. So I'm starting to get a little excited. We're getting closer. I just went ahead and put the front drive shaft back in. I didn't put the new iron rock one in there yet. It's got different yokes and stuff we have to put on. I got to get a pinion seal for the front. It comes with a, like I said, it comes with a new yoke that uses U-bolts instead of caps. So the factory one did fit. It's about stretched to its limits. I think what I want to do at this point, I'm probably going to mount my tires. I'm going to temporarily put my spacers on. And then I'd like to see if I can get a hold of my brother, take it down, get on the alignment rack and start getting this thing shifted around and squared up and, you know, figure that stuff out before I get, you know, real hog wild with it. Now I do have all new tie rod ends for it. I bought some Moog tie rod ends. Of course, I've got new upper and lower ball joints, and then the new front drive axles with the U-joints and all that stuff. But I think, you know, it's not going to hurt to, you know, go down and do the alignment, get the axles and everything where you kind of want to have them. I hate to put all 4 tie rod ends and then, you know, drive this thing down the road and, you know, just, you know, I think it's just going to be easier to get it squared up and then make sure everything's cool, then, you know, finish off our front end, you know, obviously in another video. So I think that's where I'm at. I'm going to go put tires on. You guys have seen me change tires before, pretty boring stuff. That'll take you long, show you how to do one of them. They're kind of big jumbos on the tire machine. So let's do that. I'll see if I can get a hold of him and hopefully get the alignment done, or at least see how square it's sitting. looks like we've got our axle in there pretty square in the front as far as that track bar goes. Just eyeballing it. So I think that method of just measuring, you know, from the fender down at ride height appeared to work. Of course, hopefully we can tell more when we get on the alignment machine. Yeah, we're gonna have some rub issues right there. I'm gonna have to chop it off. Of course, we're getting different bumpers for it, but in the interim, we're gonna have to cut the front bumper. Yeah, it just rubs it right there. So I think that's what we're gonna do to correct the rubbing problem. I just measured down 5 inches and then start, you know, just put a piece of tape on it so we can start the taper there, and then measure down about 14 inches and then in 2, and then just kind of followed a contour down and then made another measurement under there. And the only reason I made the measurements is so I could kind of duplicate it on the other side. Like I said, I do have intentions on getting different bumpers so I can put a winch on it. I've been checking with Goliath Off-Road. I've tried calling the guy. I've spoke to him on the phone a couple times trying to get prices. I've emailed multiple times, haven't gotten anywhere. So I may have to find a different company to go with there as far as what I'm going to do for a bumper, or, you know, build our own. But frankly, I like those ones I found on Goliath. But we'll keep going for right now. Now the inner fender on this side is already tore up. It's broke. When I bought the Jeep, it was like that. I just put a zip tie on it, just kind of dangling in here. So we may have to trim that too. I don't really see, you know, other than the fact we're going to lose this inside lip. It's still bolted on up here. There's not much that holds bumper covers on. I mean, we already cut off the control arm mounts. This should cut a lot easier, right? So I'll make darn sure we don't have any important wires back here, or non-important ones. Oh my gosh, like my first day on a job. There. Yeah, I think we're in good shape. Oh, fancy. There. Ought to fit now. Like I say, this fender liner is already busted. There was only just a couple clips holding it in. Instead of pulling it out all the way, I just set it down. I want to take, I kind of looked at it when it was in. I want to cut kind of about 1 inch down from this line over to about this line here. Now that's going to leave the fog light exposed, which I don't think is any big deal. Probably ought to start over here. So I get somewhat of a line going across, so we can cut this off too, so it's not just flapping in the wind. There, because then we have one fastener here and then another one up towards the top. I think we'll be okay with that. And then, like I say, you know, when we get the new bumpers, I don't know. I mean, there's obviously going to be some different, because the horns are back in here. There's going to be some different configurations going on there. So I think what I'll do, let's get like a straight file. Just kind of block this a little bit. I don't know if I have any sandpaper here just to kind of clean this up a little. You know, square it off, get rid of some of the jagged edges. Then we'll cut this off. Don't cut the new tires, fella. Custom. The whole bottom of it is chewed out anyways. And if it comes down to it, you know, if the new bumpers, you know, kind of incorporate the factory fender liners, then I'll probably just take them out of my red Jeep at home or go to the salvage yard or see what they cost new, I don't know. I think we're good now. We get some plastic retainers, stick that baby back up in. Looks good to me. So it looks like we have plenty of clearance now. Of course, that leaves, you know, the back of the fog light and stuff exposed and the washer jug. It is what it is. What we have to do now, like I said, I want to get it straightened up. Hopefully, I'm still waiting to get a hold of my brother. So I get on the alignment rack, get it straightened up, and then we're gonna have to go, you know, full flex, you know, up and down both sides, wheel turn, see what interferes then. I don't know if the washer jug and fog lights and all that stuff's gonna have to go. I'm sure we'll find out. Here we go, maiden voyage. I imagine we're gonna have some wicked driveline vibration, but that's just my guess. Oh yeah. Definitely got a case of the jitters there. I'm not even going to bother with driveline vibrations or anything yet until I get my drive shafts. And then what I'll likely do, I don't suspect we're going to have a problem with front driveline vibration, more so is the rear, if anything. So I'm likely just going to leave the front drive shaft out. We'll put the rear one in, you know, play around with our pinion angles if we have to. And then once we know there's no vibration in the back, then we'll throw the front drive shaft in, simply because this is, you know, full-time four-wheel drive. All kinds of rattles. No idea how far off our speedometer is right now. Well, it doesn't take the steering wheel out of my hands when we hit bumps, so that's good. Speedo says we're going 50. Probably have to download an app on our phone just so we can see for sure. Definitely feels pretty stiff, which is to be expected. Braking effort feels to be about the same. Up in there. Whoa. Yeah, definitely got some drive shaft vibration there when we take off. Alright guys, we're going to leave the video with this for right now. I've got to get going for the day until I hear from my brother and can get this thing kind of situated and straightened out. I think so far we're doing pretty good. Kind of some minor stuff there, having to trim the, you know, the front bumper cover and inner fender. perhaps there's a better option, but that's the option I saw right now, so I can at least move it around without it scrubbing. We'll pick up on this on another video, hopefully. See what do we have left. We've got the front drive shaft put in, but I already talked to you about that. We got to put the slip yoke eliminator on the transfer case, get the rear drive shaft ordered so we can, get that sorted out. Tie rod ends. What else I got over there? I got the skid plate for the transfer case. We got to put that in, and of course all the stuff in the front axles, ball joints, and all that business. So until next time, go down, subscribe, ring the bell so you don't miss those videos. Find us around our socials, and just remember, viewers, if I can do it, you can do it. Thanks for watching.